Hello and welcome to Infectious Information, a channel dedicated to information, infections, diseases, and other scourges of humanity. Today I'm going to cover Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox. The disease underwent a name change in the year 2022 due to stigma as well as removing a misnomer. While monkeypox was initially discovered in a colony of research monkeys in 1958, the natural reservoir is believed to be in rodent populations. So a little history on the Mpox disease. It was discovered in a colony of research monkeys in a lab in Copenhagen, Denmark. The first human case was not discovered until the year 1970. A child in the Democratic Republic of the Congo was suspected to have smallpox, but the real culprit was our new friend, the Mpox. Since then, numerous outbreaks have been reported, mostly in Central and Western African countries, with the first outbreak outside of Africa being in the United States in the year 2003. That outbreak was traced back to prairie dogs that were housed with African pouched rats, dormice, and other small mammals. The prairie dogs were unfortunately sold to the public before their infection was apparent. According to the investigation done during this outbreak, all who became ill did so after coming in contact with an infected animal, and no human-to-human transmission was reported. According to the CDC and public health departments were able to contain the outbreak using smallpox vaccines and treatments, and informing doctors of health protocols, as well as prohibiting the transportation, sale, release, and importation of certain rodents, including prairie dogs. The CDC has since rescinded the restriction on sale, capture, and transportation of domestically bred African rodents, but the importation ban remains firmly in place. In 2021, there was a case of human Mpox reported in Texas, and this human case would be just the tip of the iceberg to come. In 2022, international cases of Mpox started cropping up in many countries. 111 countries reported confirmed cases of Mpox, mostly in countries the disease had never been seen in before. As of writing, there are currently 86,500 cases reported globally, with 30,000 cases in the US alone. It appears that cases have been spreading across demographics of men who have intimate contact with other men. Of course, anyone of any gender or sexual orientation can contract Mpox after being exposed to someone infected with the disease. But it does appear that the disease has gained a foothold in the community, and those in that group are at a higher risk of contracting the disease than in general population, as far as statistical analysis is concerned. Globally, the number of deaths associated with the current outbreak stands at 193, with 38 deaths in the United States with the highest fatality count, followed by Peru with 20 and Brazil with 15. As you might know, Mpox is a disease in the same family as smallpox, which sounds very alarming. However, the good news is that smallpox is one of the only diseases that humans have been able to eradicate, so we do already have experience with this type of disease. Now that we have some history and data, let's find out what happens when you come down with a case of Mpox. Mpox has a lot of classic everything symptoms that can signal nothing more than a cold or the end of days. Fever, muscle aches, headaches, swollen lymph nodes, fatigue, sore throat, cough, and stuffy nose. The rash or pox can come on as the only symptoms before or after any other symptoms begin, so pretty nondescript. However, it is important to note you should most definitely stay home with any kinds of these symptoms, regardless of if you think you have been exposed to Mpox. It's just common courtesy at this point. Also, if you have any new or unexplained rashes, maybe give the doctor a call anyway. The rash from Mpox follows through stages from macules or lesions appearing, papules, lesions raising off of the skin, vesicles where they become more blister-like and filled with clear fluid, and such, to pustules which begin to deflate and crust over, scabs, and then healing. You are considered contagious until the scabs fall off, so if you do have a confirmed or suspected case of Mpox, stay home, rest, and avoid intimate contact or sharing bedding with others until the scabs fall completely off. These rashes appear to vary in severity based on a case-by-case basis, and also by the virus clade. The West African clade that is associated with the current outbreak typically causes a milder disease than the Congo Basin clade. The disease usually has an incubation period of 3 to 17 days, and the course of the disease typically lasts 2 to 4 weeks on average. The best course of prevention is vaccinations of individuals with high risk and education. It is still currently being investigated how often Mpox spreads through asymptomatic cases. Most transmission occurs through direct contact with the pox or pustules at any stage before the scabs fall off. Transmission can also occur through contact with bodily fluids of people or animals infected, or prolonged face-to-face contact. The risk of contracting Mpox through bedding and other objects is considered low. It appears the transmission occurs 1 to 4 days before symptom onset begins sometimes, so it makes self-isolation very difficult. Though it appears the world has dodged a very ominous bullet this time, being that the West African clade is the cause of the outbreak and not the Congo Basin clade, we should take this as a warning and be prepared for the next outbreak. In the most severe cases, Mpox can cause large portions of skin to fall off and cause significant skin loss, pain, and scarring, and in the very worst cases, in the most vulnerable populations, can absolutely cause death. In my humble and unqualified opinion, we in first world nations should start paying attention to the blights, epidemics, and health systems of developing nations and assist them in disease prevention, identification, containment, treatment, and education. We cannot work together to be proactive before outbreaks spread to panic, dissent, prejudice, and death. Instead, we are always trying to find a way to react to newly emerged viruses that have been endemic to developing countries for decades. We've had decades to prevent this virus from spreading and affecting people not just in the first world, but from those who suffer from this disease since the first human case in 1970. We have the resources to play catch up, so why can't we get ahead of it? As long as the first world nations continue to think of their own current health and have a let them figure it out attitude, pandemics and epidemics like the Mpox outbreak will continue to happen and spread. Is it time to take into consideration the health of developing countries with their current health systems and maybe help our future health? Or maybe it'll never happen again. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe for more upbeat and contagious content. The CDC has since rescinded the restriction on sale, capture, and transportation of domestically bred African rodents. God damn it, this is hard.